When Voldemort entered the Potter home on Halloween night, he expected the killing curse to perform as it always had, quick, absolute, and unblockable. Instead, this moment became the first and most famous failure of Avada Kedavra. The mechanics rest on Lily Potter's sacrificial protection. By refusing to step aside and willingly offering her life for her son, Lily invoked a deep, ancient magic older than wandlore. This enchantment was not cast like a spell, but triggered by intent. Her self-sacrifice infused Harry with a living shield bound to his very blood. When Voldemort fired Avada Kedavra at baby Harry, the green jet of light did not simply strike and kill. The protective magic redirected its lethal force, causing the curse to rebound upon the caster. Voldemort's physical body was destroyed, his soul torn from it, and Harry survived with only a lightning-shaped scar. This scar was not a mere wound, but a residue of the curse's violent deflection, a physical mark left when the killing curse met a power it could not consume. The key to understanding this failure lies in the curse's nature. Avada Kedavra is designed to extinguish life energy instantly, bypassing shields and armor. But Lily's magic did not attempt to block the curse. It changed the target. In essence, the spell struck Harry but was redirected back into Voldemort himself, collapsing the magical intent. This reveals that Avada Kedavra, while unstoppable in direct combat, can be defeated when the definition of target is altered by higher magic. Harry's protection lasted until Voldemort's resurrection and continued to function in subtler ways, marking this moment as the ultimate proof that even the most feared spell is not truly absolute. The second great failure of Avada Kedavra took place during the duel in the graveyard at Little Hangleton. When Voldemort cast the killing curse at Harry, it should have ended the battle instantly. Instead, the spell collided with Harry's own counter-curse and triggered Priori Incantatem, a rare magical phenomenon caused by the interaction of twin wands. Both Harry and Voldemort wielded wands with phoenix feather cores, and more importantly, both feathers came from the same phoenix, Fawkes, Dumbledore's companion. In wand lore, such twin cores are never meant to duel each other because the wands recognize their kinship and resist fighting to the death. When spells collide between twin cores, instead of overpowering one another, the wands lock into a magical connection, creating what is called the reverse spell effect. During this lock, the golden thread of energy linking the wands prevented Voldemort's Avada Kedavra from reaching Harry. The curse remained suspended in the beam, its lethal energy neutralized by the equilibrium between the wands. Instead of Harry's life being snuffed out, Voldemort was forced to confront echoes of his past spells. Shadows of Cedric, Bertha Jorkins, Frank Bryce, and finally Harry's parents. This was not a shield in the traditional sense, but a disruption of magical intent itself, where the spell could not complete its purpose. The mechanics are crucial. Avada Kedavra cannot normally be stopped, but wand allegiance and core resonance can rewrite the battlefield rules. The curse failed not because Harry had a stronger spell, but because the wand recognized a magical bond and refused to deliver a clean kill. In this case, it was wand lore, not defensive magic, that undermined the deadliest spell in wizarding history. During the battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort in the Ministry of Magic's atrium, Avada Kedavra failed twice under different circumstances, each revealing how the curse interacts with the physical and magical world. The first came when Voldemort launched the curse at Dumbledore, and Fawkes the Phoenix intercepted it. The green light struck the bird directly, consuming its life instantly. Instead of leaving Dumbledore dead, it reduced Fawkes to a ball of flame and ash from which he was reborn moments later. This moment proved that while the killing curse cannot be shielded by magic, it can be intercepted by living creatures, though at the cost of their lives. Fawkes survived only because of his species' ability to resurrect through flame, not because the curse failed in its intent. The second example occurred during the same duel when Voldemort targeted Harry. Dumbledore conjured a large golden statue that animated to act as a barrier. The statue absorbed the force of the curse and was destroyed, collapsing into fragments, but Harry remained untouched. This demonstrates that Avada Kedavra can be stopped by solid matter or transfigured constructs, provided the target is physically shielded. Unlike spells such as Protego, which collapse under the curse's energy, conjured material objects act as sacrificial blockers. The lesson from these events is that Avada Kedavra is unblockable only against magical defenses designed to repel spells. It is still bound by physical laws when it comes into contact with tangible matter or beings. In the Atrium duel, the curse failed not through reflection or allegiance issues, but because of physical obstruction, living and non-living, standing between the caster and the intended victim. The Battle of the Seven Potters produced one of the strangest failures of Avada Kedavra, and it came down to the mysterious autonomy of wandlore. During the escape from Privet Drive, Voldemort personally targeted Harry while flying on a borrowed broom. To avoid the twin-core problem, he wielded Lucius Malfoy's wand instead of his own. He cast Avada Kedavra directly at Harry, who was attempting to defend himself with his wand. What followed was not a standard magical duel, but a violent eruption of golden fire as Harry's wand responded in a way that neither wizard had consciously directed. Harry's Holly and Phoenix Feather wand acted independently, sensing the threat from Voldemort and recognizing the rival wand as hostile. Instead of casting a shield or redirecting energy, the wand released a surge of power that destroyed Lucius's wand outright. The killing curse itself was never blocked by Harry's spell work. It simply failed to manifest because the casting instrument was overwhelmed and obliterated mid-attack. This event baffled even Ollivander when questioned later. He explained that wands develop loyalties and learn from their encounters. Harry's wand had absorbed power from its connection to Voldemort's during the Priori Incantatem duel and was now prepared to act against him. This anomaly illustrates a rare case where Avada Kedavra was neutralized not by a shield, not by sacrifice, but by wand sentience. The curse was aborted before it could even complete its path. The Golden Fire incident stands apart from every other failure. It shows that the deadliest spell is only as effective as the wand channeling it, and a wand with its own agenda can undermine even the most lethal magic. When Voldemort and his Death Eaters laid siege to Hogwarts, they unleashed a barrage of spells meant to tear through the castle's defenses. Among them were volleys of Avada Kedavra, hurled at the shimmering shield that the teachers, order members, and students had conjured around the school. For the first time, the killing curse was shown in a large-scale battle context, and it did not pierce the barrier immediately. Instead, the dome held firm, absorbing the impacts as green bolts of lethal light burst harmlessly against it. The mechanics here differ sharply from personal protection. A shield charm like Protego is designed to block spells cast at an individual, but Avada Kedavra overwhelms such defenses by bypassing magical resistance. Warding, however, is a different category of magic altogether. A ward is not a momentary block, but a woven net of enchantments layered into space itself, binding together multiple casters' power. This explains why the Hogwarts barrier withstood even repeated strikes from the killing curse. The wards did not block the curse in the usual sense. They functioned like a magical fortress wall, dispersing the curse's intent across a much larger structure until its power was spent. Eventually, the sustained bombardment broke through, proving that no defense is infinite. Yet the delay was crucial. For a short time, Hogwarts' combined magic rendered Avada Kedavra ineffective, showing the spell's limitation when faced with scale. It could kill a person instantly, but it could not immediately undo enchantments designed to shield an entire stronghold. In this case, the killing curse failed not because of sacrifice, wandlore, or interception, but because of sheer magical architecture built to withstand siege warfare. The most paradoxical failure of Avada Kedavra came in the Forbidden Forest during the Battle of Hogwarts. Harry willingly surrendered himself to Voldemort, unarmed and undefended, accepting death so that others might live. Voldemort cast Avada Kedavra at point-blank range. By every rule of magic, Harry should have died instantly. Instead, he awoke in a liminal space resembling King's Cross Station, while his body remained alive. The curse succeeded in one sense. It destroyed something, but not the intended target. The explanation lies in the complex web of protections and soul magic binding Harry and Voldemort. When Voldemort resurrected years earlier, he had used Harry's blood in his new body. This tether tied Harry's life to Voldemort's own survival, ensuring Harry could not die while Voldemort lived. At the same time, Harry carried a fragment of Voldemort's soul lodged within him since infancy, making him an unintentional Horcrux. When the killing curse struck, it targeted life essence. The fragment of Voldemort's soul inside Harry was destroyed, fulfilling the spell's purpose in part. But Harry's own life force was shielded by the blood bond and reinforced by his deliberate self-sacrifice. By choosing death, Harry extended Lily's protection to all fighting at Hogwarts, but he himself was paradoxically kept alive by Voldemort's earlier mistake. The result was unique. Avada Kedavra appeared to succeed, but it only annihilated what was foreign within Harry, leaving him free of the Horcrux. The spell failed to kill its target because Voldemort had inadvertently made Harry's survival a condition of his own existence. No other known magical circumstance reproduces this outcome, making it the most extraordinary failure in the history of the killing curse. The last and most definitive failure of Avada Kedavra came during Voldemort's duel with Harry in the Great Hall of Hogwarts. Believing himself invincible with the Elder Wand, Voldemort cast the killing curse at Harry in full view of both Death Eaters and Defenders. Yet when the green light surged forward, it rebounded and killed Voldemort himself. The reason was not protective magic, dodging, or interception. It was allegiance. The Elder Wand is unique among magical instruments. Its loyalty passes not through ownership or gifting, but through conquest. At the time of the duel, Voldemort assumed the wand's loyalty had shifted to him after seizing it from Dumbledore's tomb. In truth, allegiance had already passed to Draco Malfoy when he disarmed Dumbledore at the Astronomy Tower. Later, Harry disarmed Draco at Malfoy Manor, making him the wand's rightful master. When Voldemort attempted to use the Elder Wand against its true owner, the wand refused to deliver lethal force. Harry responded with Expelliarmus, a spell far weaker than Avada Kedavra under normal conditions. But because the Elder Wand recognized Harry as master, Voldemort's curse was turned back upon him. This was not a typical rebound like the Godric's Hollow incident, where sacrificial magic redirected the spell. Here, the wand itself nullified Voldemort's intent and effectively chose its master by ensuring the killing curse did not strike. The outcome underscores the deepest flaw in Voldemort's obsession with power. He underestimated the complexity of loyalty in wandlore. Avada Kedavra, the spell he trusted above all others, failed not through resistance, but because the very tool that cast it betrayed him. In this case, the failure was final. The curse killed its caster and ended his reign. Not every failure of Avada Kedavra involved deep wandlore or ancient protections. In many battles, the curse simply missed its target. Despite its reputation, Avada Kedavra is not an unavoidable beam of death. It is a spell that travels in a straight line from caster to target. If the victim ducks, runs, or places solid cover between themselves and the caster, the curse can fail just as any projectile would. This practical weakness appeared throughout the Second Wizarding War, where witches and wizards survived by speed and terrain rather than magical counters. It is equally important to understand why the standard shield charm, Protego, does not suffice. Protego is designed to block most hexes, jinxes, and curses by dispersing their magical energy. Avada Kedavra bypasses these protections entirely, striking through them without resistance. That is why Dumbledore, in the Atrium Duel, resorted to conjured statues rather than relying on defensive charms. He knew a shield would collapse instantly. Physical barriers, however, obey a different logic. A wall, a column, or even conjured matter can absorb the strike, not because they counter the curse, but because they intercept it. The object is destroyed, but the target survives. Dodging and cover highlight that the killing curse, for all its terror, is not infallible in combat. The spell requires precision, a clear line of sight, and no obstruction. Its lethality lies in its effect once it hits, not in its ability to chase or curve toward prey. The many near misses throughout the series serve as reminders that survival against Avada Kedavra often came down to movement and environment rather than equal magical force. In analyzing Avada Kedavra's failures, it is important to separate book canon from cinematic choices. The films often portrayed green light as a shorthand for dangerous curses, even when the text did not confirm the killing curse. This created the appearance of failures that do not exist in the books. The clearest case is the death of Sirius Black. In the book, Bellatrix strikes him with a stunning or pushing spell that knocks him through the veil, which kills him. In the film, the bolt is shown as green, leading many viewers to assume it was Avada Kedavra. Because Sirius does not drop dead instantly, some interpret this as a failed killing curse. Canonically, however, the veil was responsible, not the spell. Other battles on screen show green bolts colliding or being pushed back, suggesting the curse can be parried like lesser spells. The books never describe Avada Kedavra this way. Its only failures come from very specific magical interactions, such as sacrificial protection, wandlore anomalies, or large-scale warding. Visual clashes were added for cinematic effect, not to rewrite magical lore. For this reason, film-only depictions are excluded from true failure analysis. They highlight the gap between adaptation and canon, but they do not count as authentic examples of the killing curse being resisted. Looking at every incident together, Avada Kedavra fails only under a few categories. Each exposes how the spell, feared for being unstoppable, still has boundaries. Sacrificial protection is the oldest and most powerful counter. Lily Potter's death redirected the curse, while Harry's own sacrifice in the Forbidden Forest shielded others by extending that magic. Wand interaction and allegiance form the second category. Twin cores caused priori incantatem in the graveyard. Harry's wand destroyed Lucius's in midair, and the Elder Wand outright reversed Voldemort's final curse. Physical interception makes up a third mode. Fawkes absorbed a curse at the Ministry, and a conjured statue blocked another. Near misses and obstacles follow the same principle. Avada Kedavra cannot pierce Protego, but it can be stopped by tangible matter. Large-scale warding is the fourth category, best seen when Hogwarts' dome withstood volleys of killing curses until the combined pressure finally broke through. Every recorded failure fits into these frameworks. Sacrifice alters the target. Wandlore bends magical allegiance, physical matter blocks the path, and wards disperse the intent. Together, they show that Avada Kedavra is lethal but not without rules.